Hey, what's up, guys? It's Steve here from Globital, and this morning I'm coming to you from sunny, beautiful South Africa. At Globital, basically, we're here to help you design your digital agency to deliver. So in this video, what I'm going to try to go into and try to take apart for you is we're going to try and help you to build a solid and functional business structure for your online marketing company. So if you are a digital agency owner and you're watching this, please hit the subscribe button below. This is our Globital TV channel, and basically we try to come to you every Monday with a fresh new video that's focused on building a better digital agency. And while you're here, in the comments, I'd love to know the one thing that you're going to go out of this video with and implement right away today, having watched this video. At the end of the day, it's all about implementation and actually doing something. So please let me know in the comments what you're thinking to implement immediately. And let's get on to our video. All right, brilliant, cool. So structuring your digital agency is basically going to be an absolutely key step in the future success of your business. So one of the things you need to consider, obviously, is the size of your agency. It is going to vary. The structure of your agency is going to be impacted by the size of your agency. Smaller agencies, for example, one person may wear many hats, whereas in bigger agencies, you may have one specific person who's dedicated to a specific role. You need to obviously consider that when developing the structure for your online marketing company. Obviously, aside from just the size of the company, there are going to be a ton of other factors to consider when you're putting together your business structure. One of the key things that will impact the structure that you put together will be what kind of digital agency are you going to basically be setting up, or what kind of digital agency are you trying to put a structure towards. For example, if you're setting up an SEO agency, the structure will be quite different to one if you're setting up a social media management agency. So I'm not going to go into too much detail in that regard in this video, maybe in a future series, but just bear that in mind. The type of agency you're going to put together is going to impact the structure that you actually put together. Instead, in this video, what I'm going to focus on is really more of a general structure that you should be thinking about when putting together a digital marketing agency, and just the key points of a business structure that you need to think about. Regardless of what you decide, one of the key things that you need to bear in mind when putting together a business structure is you need to maintain flexibility within that. More so than ever before in human history, flexibility is key in business. And you need to be able to have your digital agency that is flexible and adaptable to the changing structures and changing forces that are happening in the industry, in the world, with your clients, and all those sorts of things. You need to think about that, need to be flexible with that. Just as the tip of the iceberg on that, think about the hierarchical way that businesses and companies have been set up in the past and how different that is these days when we're putting together businesses. That sort of hierarchical structure is being changed and being questioned, and there's new ways to put business structures together. All right, cool. So the way that I always like to think about a business when you're putting together a business structure for a business is think of it like a sales funnel. There's a logical flow to things in the way that it should work. All right, cool. So obviously one of the most time consuming and biggest parts of running a business is admin. And this is, unfortunately, it's a part of doing business. It's necessary. We need to do it. But unfortunately, this is the sort of monthly, daily, mundane, time consuming tasks that we tend to get sucked into, and that tends to take us, more importantly, it tends to take us away from our inner genius. It tends to remove us away from why we started our digital agency and what we're great at. We end up doing administrative stuff, emails, accounting, those sorts of things that tend to take us away from what we love doing, and it inevitably makes us not enjoy what we're doing in our digital agency. So this is really important, that you think about the administrative side of your business and find a way to make sure that you, as the business owner or the agency owner, are not the one who has to do it. Whether it's, for example, a virtual assistant or local help that you get, make sure that you've got your administrative tasks. They're key, they're important, but they shouldn't be something that take you away from what you love doing and actually running your digital agency and doing what you love in your digital agency. The next one up, as you think about your business structure, is marketing. We've all heard the analogy of the cobbler's children who have no shoes. How many marketing agencies do you know, and how many, maybe even your own agency, whose marketing is suffering because you're too busy working on your client's stuff? Now, it's really important to remember that in your business structure, you need to work in your marketing structure into your business structure, and make sure that it's something that you take care of for yourself. It's something we need as a digital agency. And it's something that's going to bring in new business. It's a lead generation thing, and it's something that we need to focus on. If we're going to grow our digital agencies and scale our digital agencies, we need to have our marketing in place. We need to have our ability to bring in new work. And also, it gives a good impression to our clients to say, hey, listen, I built a beautiful website for myself that's humming and getting me new clients, and my social media is great, and I've got fantastic content. I can do the same for you. All right, cool. So business structure, another point that we need to think about, the next step that you need to think about is sales. What is your digital agency going to do about sales, and how are you going to manage the sales? There needs to be certain steps through this process that you take care of like any business would. These steps include qualification, some sort of process of determining the needs of the clients you're talking to. Actually, as well, it's not a bad idea is to think about a process of deciding if that client is a good or bad client for you. You want to be in your digital agency, you want to be in a situation where you actually have that ability to make that decision for yourself to say, hey, this is not a client that I actually want to support or want to work with. They're demonstrating some bad behavior. Maybe it's not going to be a good relationship. I'm not going to walk down a path with them. But if you haven't actually put some planning and actually put some structure to your sales process, you're never going to be in the stage where you can actually make those determinations and have that many clients coming through that you can actually make that determination who you can move away and who you can actually work with. Another thing to think about when you're doing a sales process is obviously once you've decided if it's a client that you want to work with, is some sort of project planning and strategy session or strategy process. Who's going to be taking care of that? Is it going to be you as the agency owner? Is it going to be one of your HODs? Is it an HOD that you have in the business who can do that for you? And of course, when you're thinking about sales, you need to think about pricing as well. Make sure that you've got a really solid pricing strategy in your agency so that you can answer those questions and actually provide a solution to your clients that are asking about that, and you can actually get them to a destination that they actually want to be at. Just the last point on sales is, really, really, really important that you don't discount the actual process of putting a strategy together and actually processing your sales strategy and your marketing strategy as well on the previous point. Agencies that don't put any thought or structure or strategy into their sales tend to never grow and tend to never scale and never actually have those problems of too many clients. There always are those agencies that have their few clients that get them by, and they're always at risk of the external forces around them, and they're not actually an agency that's moving forward and actually growing themselves. So really put some thought and effort into your sales strategy. All right, cool. So the next step in your business structure that you're going to think about is operations and resourcing. Now, of course, I'm not going to cover all of that, everything you need to know in one little video like this. It's going to take a lot more than that. But you've got to consider obviously actually how you're actually going to get the work done. This will obviously depend on what kind of work you're doing. And is it SEO? Is it web design? Is it copywriting? What kind of work are you actually doing, and how are you going to accomplish getting it done? Some of the most common ways obviously are full-time employment of people, partnering up with other agencies that who provide digital marketing services that you don't provide to similar clients. And of course, there's resource partners like what we do at Globital. We provide resourcing to digital agencies so they don't have to take it on themselves. Whatever you do, make sure that you've got a plan around how you're actually going to accomplish the work and actually execute the work that's going to get done. So this is by no means an exhaustive list of the types of agencies out there, but generally speaking, in online marketing and digital marketing and online marketing companies, there's two kinds of digital agencies, very broadly speaking. The one is a full service agency. And that is an agency that sort of does everything for a client. They'll do all sorts of services. They provide strategy, they provide operations, they provide a quality control or some sort of check in terms of is it meeting the criteria, and is it going to provide a solution that's going to work for the client. And obviously it also provides an account management role as well. That's sort of a full service agency that does everything. The other kind of agency that we tend to find is more of a boutique specialist agency. Now, this is generally an online marketing company or agency that's been started by somebody who's great at one particular element of digital marketing, like web design or SEO. They will often have an HOD who does the strategy. They'll have that HOD will, for example, manage one or two resources as well within their team. And they'll often partner up with contractors to do what they can't do. So an SEO person who's great at SEO, has a great HOD in SEO and a few team members there, will partner up with a web design company to do the web design for them, or a copywriting company, or a resource partner like us. What happens in these agencies though is that these HODs and these individuals, I was talking earlier on in the video about people who wear many hats, tends to happen is you get the resources wearing multiple hats. So they may be responsible for the quality assurance checking as well, and the account management role as well. So these boutique agencies, while they do one specific thing really, really well, they also, the staff tend to do a lot of things within the agency themselves. And as we always say, I mean, the wholesale digital marketing game, what we always say to agencies like this is, what happens when you get too busy? You know, what happens when your HOD of SEO and his team get a campaign for 5 more websites and they just don't have the resources? What do you do? So make sure that your business structure has some sort of a plan to deal with that sort of thing. You want your marketing and your sales department to be working so well and bringing in so much new business that your teams are being stretched, that they're actually running out of time, that you need to find a better solution to actually fulfill that work. That means that you're growing, and that's where you get to a stage where you need help. Okay, so the next part of your business structure in your online marketing company that you should be thinking about is potentially an account management section. You know, how are you going to deal with your clients and actually manage the clients? This takes into consideration things like customer service, handling issues. What are you going to do when things go wrong? You know, inevitably you're going to have problems on a campaign. It's going to run late. There could be any number of issues that come up. How are you going to deal with this? That's the account management role, and how are you actually going to deal with the clients and make sure that their expectations are met and that your agency is doing the job that it says it will. And finally, the last part of the business structure that I would recommend you think about and make sure you put into place is your accounts and your billing department. You know, obviously all the hard work you're doing, you want to actually accomplish something with it, and generally that comes down to revenue. So how are you going to deal with that? What is your invoicing situation going to look like? How are you actually going to get paid? And more importantly, I mean, inevitably it happens to most businesses, and it might happen to yours as well. We all want to work with brilliant clients who pay on time and continuously support us as the service provider that we are. But inevitably we are going to have people who owe us money. And what is your solution for that? How are you going to deal with debt collection and the people who owe you money? And what is your plan for getting that money from them? And also managing that relationship. You know, it doesn't, just because someone owes you money, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to immediately cut off the relationship. You know, a lot of clients who we work with tend to have good intentions and will come to the party and meet us halfway and put together a payment plan to get us the money they owe us. But what happens when you don't have somebody who's just not willing to do that? What is your plan for getting that done? What is your debt collection plan there? All right, great guys. Hopefully that answers a few of your questions about business structure and setting up a business structure for your online marketing agency. Please do take the time to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Plus, if you'd like a little bit more help, if you feel like you're a little bit stuck in your agency and you could use a bit of a kickstart, we have a really great course called the 30-day Kickstart course. It's a pretty comprehensive start to finish course on setting up and running a digital agency from beginning to profitability. And I've put all the details down in the description down below. So please check it out if you're interested. That's it for now. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.